God, devaluing trauma. Forgot about this episode. It's probably so loud on the mic, I'm so sorry. Hello, my name is Josh Tyler. Welcome to my privileged opinion. Thank you so much for being here. You survived, you're alive. I don't know why I celebrate life. I mean, I know why I celebrate life, because life is amazing, but I'm just so glad that you are alive and you're here, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here. Please like, subscribe, touch all the buttons. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. This week, I want to talk about devaluing trauma, because it was something that I used to do a lot. And the funny thing is, it took me stopping doing it to myself before I was able to stop doing it to others. Funny how everything comes back to you first. Now, I did kind of touch on this topic a little bit in White Men Know Best video, so if you want to watch a little bit more on this topic, go to that little thing. But I want to kind of expand on it a little bit more here, because in that video I talked about that I did come from an environment where I was told how to think, feel, and act. How that manifested within me, though, was that I never really truly knew what I was feeling because of how I was feeling. What I'm trying to say is, I couldn't connect my feelings with what was happening in my brain. Like, there was no connection between rage, what is making me feel rage, fear, what is making me feel fear. That connection was gone, because everyone around me was gonna tell me, oh, you're not angry right now, you're fine. Wild. Because I didn't have that connection and know what I was feeling, things that were traumatic became commonplace. And what made it even worse was that the people around me devalued the trauma. And so the connection between this is traumatic, we should address it, and you're fine was the correlation. This isn't traumatic, you're fine, smile, we're going to church. So, to bring this into my let's talk about self-development, I was devaluing my trauma. So the direct correlation was that I would then devalue other people's traumas. And when you devalue other people's trauma, basically what you're telling them, in fewer words, is that I don't believe what you're saying. Which is still happening to me as an adult. Now, specifically me as a white male, to devalue trauma and basically tell people I don't believe their experience is gravely detrimental. Because when you have a marginalized person come up to you and say, I am experiencing trauma because of X, it doesn't even hit the brain. You go, or I did, went, I don't believe you. That's not real. And it didn't really have anything to do with them more so than it did me. I wasn't valuing my own trauma and my own experience. It's such a wild concept, because people act like I did it on purpose, and it was merely that I was conditioned to function in that way. It had nothing to do with the other person. It had 100% to do with me. This topic really hit home for me from Brene Brown, because I love Brene Brown. This topic really hit home for me when in something Brene Brown was doing, she talked about believing people. You have to actually believe people. But for me, it really reflected back inward, because in order to believe other people, I had to believe myself. I had to believe my experience was traumatic. I had to believe that I went through those things. I had to believe that they were hard and that I had resilience through them. In order for me to be a better person, I had to believe myself first. And so if you are asking yourself, how can I be better to other people? It is going to start with you being better to yourself. Please go out into the world, be good and do good, and I will see you next week. That made me cry a little bit. Okay. The journey was great, though. That was like a really good stream of consciousness. I have these topics. We're just rattling them off one by one.